Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another live stream, a market analysis. So this is an opportunity for us to look at the market and predict what to expect for tomorrow's session. So basically, we are going to be looking for our A+ setups. Preparation is a keyword for the game of trading in order to become successful, and that's basically what you are going to be doing in here. So feel free to ask any asset that you want me to analyze. I'm going to go through a few. So yeah, let's see, and let me know if you do also do your pre-market analysis, if you prepare, or if you just jump into the market and start trading whatever you see in the moment. All right, so Monday, typical Monday today. Basically, price just continued the same direction as it was moving with NFP. So basically we had a continuation to the upside on the dollar. It happened too early. It happened basically at the opening, and since then it was just a little bit of a move to the upside. We did mention yesterday that there was this supply level in here that price could eventually react from, and it reacted this afternoon. Had some reaction in there. I didn't really like it, especially on the euro. On the dollar it was okay, but on the euro and the pound I didn't really like where our price is reacting. I think eventually we're going to move higher. So that's basically the key level to look for tomorrow, especially tomorrow morning. I think we may have around the London session may have an interesting opportunity, either to see if price respects this level in here and if you have a turn in there, or if price does create some kind of PI in here and eventually just properly creates momentum to break all this structure in here, which then leads us into the next level a little bit more to the upside. So that's going to be the key level to look for tomorrow around the London session on the dollar, is to see how price may react around this level. All right, so we basically just respected now this level in here. We create a little bit of a range in there, may have a few zones in there as well, and you may still have that extreme level to look for, and you can even fake out this high, maybe just respect something in here as well. Can still happen. So that's going to be interesting. It's nice to see that price is reacting from a level, but not exactly still the extreme. So it leaves a little bit of space for price to create some PI if it does want to continue to challenge a little bit more to the downside. Otherwise, you may respect something in here, which is basically today's daily candle, and then you can push higher from here. So that's something to pay attention here on the dollar index. Tomorrow we have unemployment in the UK straight away at 7 AM, but then we don't really have any more big news throughout the day. We have a few Fed members speaking or sharing their views in the afternoon tomorrow, but aside from that there's no news. And then on Wednesday you have the CPI, and it starts kind of the big news start to appear throughout the rest of the week. So this is what we have on the dollar. Not going to really be extending too much in here. So it's going to be interesting to see if we do have some kind of retracements or reversals on a Tuesday morning. Sometimes they either happen around Tuesday or Wednesday. We had a little bit of momentum today, but we haven't really managed to break anything in particular in here. So yeah, interesting to see how price react. Now we talked about the lows already yesterday when we did our higher time frame or weekly pre-market analysis. So we do have this level, and this level respected perfectly during the NFP, right? And that makes it a little bit bullish. My only concern in here is that if you do actually look into a bigger picture, there's maybe still a little bit of space that price can eventually fill, which is somewhere around this level, below these lows. So that's something that I'm still aware of, and potentially that I will keep in mind that price may want to visit and take these lows. All right, I'm not going to turn completely bullish in here, even though I do like the reaction during the NFP. And if you start breaking these highs, then yes, all of a sudden price can definitely go much higher. But if price does want to come back in here and fake out this was on last time, I wouldn't be surprised if that happens in here on the bigger picture. So that's what we have now. It's recovering a little bit in here, and yeah, we'll see then on the euro, on the pound, and so on, if we do have opportunities to basically do the opposite, which is looking for longs, and in case the index actually wants to go slightly lower here. But yeah, now bigger picture again, we did manage to break this high, so we may actually go higher from here. So this is just a few things to take into consideration at this point. All right, so looking at the indices, looking at the indices now. All right, so we had a little bit of recovery. We mentioned yesterday, S&P, it was really close to that demand zone, somewhere around this structure. That's basically where it reacted, and it started moving to the upside. Right, so again, we do have a little bit of a few levels in here, and that's basically the next key zone to pay attention to in here on the S&P and the indices. So curious to see how price may react around this level in order to potentially continue to move lower. This is literally one of the upper levels in here that price, by any chance, if it wants actually to go higher and retest the highs, this would be a little bit of the level where it could happen. It's kind of a good swap zone that we had kind of these previous levels in here. We broke it to the upside, and we have below or behind this level in here where price is basically reacting right now. Otherwise, if price starts breaking these levels in here, then are looking for price to get at least closer to this level, if not even start challenging these lows in there. So that's going to be an interesting one as well tomorrow morning. Sorry. What's going to happen around the structure in here? If price starts breaking this level, then we're going to be looking for something closer to the last week's highs on the S&P. Nasdaq, quite similar as well. So we have this structure in here that we can definitely pay attention to see how price may react from it. Eventually can lead into a continuation. Again, Nasdaq is reacting already from a zone underneath, comparing with the S&P. So we have that zone in there, which actually considering that level in there. So S&P is reacting from this structure, which is basically where Nasdaq reacted a little bit. Nasdaq is already feel all this compression, and it's closer to these walls in here. Personally, I do think we are going to have this continuation, and price will challenge eventually those highs in there. That's a little bit more of what I'm expecting to see in here on the Nasdaq. Dow Jones, interesting, kind of broke below that level, didn't really feel that range in there, and they are getting closer to this level. So Dow, if it actually gets a little bit closer to these highs, it can provide an interesting sell opportunity. Alright, so if it gets closer to this level, basically that's a little bit of a touch already that happened in there, maybe a little bit higher or somewhere in there, can be an interesting level to look for. And yes, we do have this break. Price didn't really reacted from the zone in there. Yeah, I kind of missed it. So there's a little bit of space in there that you can potentially look for, and this can lead a little bit into an engulf to the downside. Yeah, we can start looking potentially with good PI. Even picking out these highs in here with good PI, you may have a good opportunity to look for a sell in there, and that can be interesting, to be honest, in here. So that's something to pay attention to, and whenever price gets there, I think that's going to be definitely on my radar to try to look for an opportunity. DAX quite similar. So DAX kind of recovering a little bit. It still has this structure that price can use to continue to move down. Hasn't really reached all the way through this final destination. I kind of feel this compression. He paused a little bit around this structure. He got really close to it, but in my opinion, there's maybe still a little bit of space that price can eventually go a little bit more further down in here. So that's going to be another one tomorrow morning. Quite interesting. Again, price compressed on the way up, so that's nice to see. Basically collecting almost all the buy orders on the way up, which means that then eventually can just fall all the way through and break out these levels. There's maybe still something at the extreme in here in case price still wants to respect it, but aside from that, everything in here looks like has been taken. So if price does break below one of these lows, then you may have the turn. Again, price can definitely still go slightly higher in here into the supply as well. So that's something to bear in mind tomorrow morning as well on the DAX. So you may have a little bit of a next leg down on the indices. If it doesn't really stops in here and it continues to go higher, then you're looking for price to go slightly higher. in here. All right, so that creates a new dynamic, and then you are looking for price potentially to get closer to this level in here. Yeah, Nikkei as well kind of continue to move down as the yen pairs, in particular the yen index, continues to move higher in here. Crypto also good recovery. All right, so it had a little bit of a pause in there, and then you just shoot to the upside. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen around the structure in here on BTC, basically 3% positive for today. Yeah, already broke this high in here, so yeah, can look potentially towards that level in there. Yeah, that can be an interesting level to look for on BTC. Let's see if it ends up actually breaking that high. And now we have definitely still this structure that price can still respect and push a little bit more to the upside. Ethereum must be quite similar. Ethereum still has this supply level in there to pay attention to. Yeah, so we'll see. Ethereum respected those lows, so it's slightly different. Yeah, I'm still curious to look at how price may react from there. So I'm also correcting a little bit. So at this point, I'm not really going to look for anything in here. I'll let it maybe go slightly higher before potentially look for more shorts in here if the opportunity appears. Otherwise, not going to even spend much time looking at crypto. Now looking at the yen index, right? And this is something that we're looking for. So price went to the upside. We are still eventually targeting or looking for price to get slightly higher, closer to those highs. But for today, price has been trading within this range somewhere in here. It went down, basically respected now the demand zone that was somewhere around this structure. May even missed a little bit that level. So maybe there's still orders in there to potentially look for. And now price basically reacting a little bit from this supply level in here. So again, overall, still expecting eventually this yen index to go slightly higher, which takes the yen pairs a little bit more to the downside, eventually challenging more of these highs in here. So that's going to be definitely something to pay attention to. Yeah, with PI now we may get into this zone 3, which basically a little bit more of a compression, a little bit more of manipulation in here, instead of just being a complete momentum move. We may have a little bit more of price going up and down, which may provide opportunities both for the buyers and the sellers as price is moving upwards, because maybe we can look for a short opportunity in there, and as price maybe gets closer to this level on in here, may look for a long again, and you may have this kind of compression moving to the upside. So we'll see if that's going to happen. That creates a little bit more of a reversal PA on the approach. Again, we are looking for price eventually to get closer to this level, which are those highs, and eventually fake out even that high into the next level, and potentially looking for shorts after that. So that's something to follow as well. And then the euro index, which is going to be an interesting one to follow, especially on Thursday, when you have the ECB. At this point is still indecisive. It's kind of creating a little bit of lows, but not exactly any momentum, just in a range. So we'll see what's going to happen in here, especially on Thursday. Again, as I mentioned, we have ECB, which everyone is expecting around the 25 basis points rate cut. So that's what we're expecting from Christine Lagarde. So we'll see what's going to happen in here. Now moving along into the individual currency pairs, right? So looking at the euro dollar, 1 second, I don't think you can see my. All right, fixed. Now looking at euro dollar, similar scenario, right? So it created the move to downside straight away as soon as the market opened, and price now is reacting a little bit from these lows. On the euro dollar, I actually prefer a little bit more of a level underneath that. So this looked like a key level that price ignored on the way up, and it may have a little bit of a few orders in there to potentially react from. Even if it is just a small reaction, you could look for that. But price at this point is just literally reacting from something in here. So I'm not the biggest fan of where the euro is reacting. I could see this whole still looking continue to move down. This is basically the opening for today, which price can definitely still retest and perhaps continue to move to the downside in here. So those are just a few levels in here on the euro dollar to pay attention to. Now, bigger picture, I did mention that we had kind of broken that low, which we were looking a little bit more for moves downside. Price retraced, didn't really reacted from the extreme, just paused basically at the bottom in there, and now basically resumed the move to downside. So yes, I'm still a little bit more bearish in here, and maybe in here you can have a little bit of a reaction, or then price will eventually go a little bit further down and start looking for the next level somewhere in there. So that's going to be the interesting level to look for tomorrow morning during the London Open. If price by any chance overnight kind of retraces back into this level, maybe you have some PA and then you can look for another short in there. If price just overnight starts moving a bit more to the downside and it creates good PA in here, then maybe you can look for a potential long, even though this basically becomes now a second break of a low, and that usually tends to happen more of as a bearish move, because we had our first break in there, price tried to go higher, kind of gets rejected and then starts moving lower again. So breaking this low again, it opens the door to go actually further down. So any trades from here, or if by any chance we do see any kind of reaction from around this level, it will be more of just a small reaction. So don't really have big expectations in terms of targets, or perhaps can go out from here to there and then maybe just resume the move to the downside in here. So I'm not going to really be looking for anything special in terms of big turns in here, just more of a retracement in case price goes there, and then you are looking further down somewhere in there on the euro. Pound broke the lows. We continue, it managed to break actually these lows and also broke these ones in here as well. So it's a key level of structure that price just broke right now, which starts opening the door a little bit more to the downside. This is basically the next level that we have around this zone in here. So we'll see again, you can have a little bit more of a continuation. We have unemployment tomorrow morning in the UK, so expect some volatility in here. And yes, we can get maybe a little bit closer to this level in here instead of just pausing where it is right now. Right, that's basically where price paused, was somewhere in here. Taking out that low, yeah, it can continue definitely to go slightly lower. Do we have any lows? Yeah, do we have any highs being broken? We just basically that's just happened in here. So that's a good clue as well. I think having some highs being broken. Yeah, we'll see how price may react tomorrow morning as well, and where we are until eventually can get closer to this level again. And we'll see if from there we're going to move to the downside. If we start breaking, then we maybe go slightly higher. Yeah, so that's basically key level in here as well to pay attention to. This price already reacted from it, question mark. There's a lot of spikes in here, so this may not even be my favorite level at this point. It's on the way up in here, basically 21st of August. On the way up in here, price spiked quite a lot, so I don't really like this level in here to look for trades, to be honest. On the higher time frame, maybe it looks like a little bit better with this previous high in there. On the lower time frame, it looks like everything has been spiked already around that structure in there, and then starts opening up, starts creating even more room to downside below that level in there. So yeah, we'll see. It's going to be another one interesting to look at. So continuation today, we'll see if tomorrow we have a little bit of a turn, or it just finally gains momentum with a maybe going to be a momentum day. We'll see how it's going to happen, because that can happen after breaking these lows. We may have some momentum happening, kind of kicking as well in here. Yeah, euro pound just complete range, so there's nothing in there to look for. Potentially longs if price gets a little bit closer to here, but really nothing on, like, there's no big opportunity to look for in there at this point. Aussie dollar, that's an interesting one, so we continue. So where did it go? We broke that level, continue to the downside. There's a little bit of a continuation setup in here, and price starting to get closer to this structure, right? That was the next one that we're looking for. Pick out this low in here and getting a little bit closer to this level. which eventually can even continue to move to downside again from here. I'm just curious because this low kind of, this high paused a little bit in the middle. Maybe could have gone a little bit higher. So we'll see if this is enough to accumulate liquidity and potentially use this level to continue to look for shorts, or if price is more interested in a bit in starting to look for a little bit of a retracement from here. But there you go, right? So start creating new lows and getting into this bearish move, which eventually, again, we already broke these levels. We can even go all the way and get closer to something underneath in here. Yep, so that's going to be interesting to see in here on the Aussie, a potential continuation to the downside. Yeah, we can even look at New Zealand as well, which is quite similar. So this is reacted from that level, which was a beautiful zone to look for a trade. We had our target, which was basically those lows, and price reacted quite nicely from here. So there you go, already broke that level, start opening even a little bit more room to the downside, and you may have also some potential continuation setup in here. So those levels, they are always great to look for potential trades when you have all these highs. Price never reacts from it. On the way up, usually there's always a good reaction from there. So yeah, we'll see how New Zealand dollar is going to continue to move from here, and if it's going to start finding some level of support somewhere in there, if eventually goes all the way towards here. Yeah, and the reality is actually reacting from this level at this point. All right, so as Aussie starting to move a little bit to the upside, we have Euro Aussie moving a little bit to the downside. Personally, I would still like the idea of seeing is this Euro Aussie moving slightly higher, somewhere closer to this level in here before moving to the downside. But we are having a little bit of a correction now, and it's going to be interesting to see how price eventually may react from this level for a potential continuation in here or not. So that's going to be something to pay attention to. A few levels in here on the Euro Aussie, price is still a bit farther away. Same thing with the Pound Aussie. I would like it to see going slightly higher. Yeah, it hasn't even gone into this gap in there, so that will be something to pay attention to. Perhaps a continuation setup from here. This price may get closer to this level in there. So that's still a level that I'll be waiting eventually on the Pound Aussie as well. Again, you have unemployment in UK tomorrow, so don't forget about that in terms of trading pound pairs. Aussie yen, yeah, Aussie yen just continues to the downside again, just like the other yen pairs in here. So we'll see what's going to happen. Basically reacted a little bit from that closer to this demand zone as we mentioned also yesterday. So yeah, we'll see what's going to happen. Again, potential continuation. We do have that structure as well in here. So yeah, paying attention also to the yen index and also Aussie dollar, so can be negative moves on both sides, which can be this Aussie yen to move further down in here, and eventually can get closer to this level in there. We have dollar yen. Basically, dollar yen ranging, respected the low, didn't really manage to break it. I think eventually it can break that level, even though you may have left some demand zone in here that price can still use. All right, so that level is still there. The price may still react a little bit from this level. It's a nice, sorry, it's a nice zone. We have this liquidity in there. Price then move to the upside. Problem is in here is that maybe price already reacted from it on the way up, so that's something to bear in mind. Maybe price already reacted from it on the way up, so we may have these levels in here. Instead, we didn't really manage to break high, so that was something, by any chance, if you're looking for longs, I would like to see at least this structure here being broken to the upside. So that didn't happen, which means that we are a little bit now stuck within this range, and we start creating all this liquidity with this double bottom in there. And we definitely still have a little bit of a new zone underneath in here that price can go, and even that one also can be quite interesting. So those are just a few levels on the dollar yen. This one can be really interesting below all these levels. Yeah, so that's something to pay attention to on dollar yen, and I'll be waiting for it. In case of sales, if price does want to go slightly higher somewhere around this level, it can also be interesting to pick out all these highs into this level. Can also provide a little bit of a good setup. Yeah, especially if you haven't really managed to break the lows, maybe you can do that happen. You can do that afterwards. All right. Euro yen also continue to move to downside in here, so that's something just that you can see potentially to go further down, targeting slightly those lows in there. I think you can continue to see as $0 also moving lower. Euro yen could also continue, and let's see how price eventually may react from these lows, which is quite similar also to the pound yen in here, which can create a little bit more liquidity straight away in the morning because of the unemployment. So we do have this demand zone that maybe price can react from, and we have this structure as well. So we'll see how price may react a little bit from this level, may create a little bit of a structure. We have this double bottom, almost triple already, so that's something that you can use eventually in here, more for again, this is more of intraday moves. They're not exactly at the extreme, so it's more in the middle. So can even just be something like that, and then maybe price can just resume to move to the downside. That could happen. For example, just pay attention for tomorrow. If you don't have a good reaction from here, all right, maybe you can have a long opportunity in there. Otherwise, price may just go to the next level and then to the next level after that. So those are just a few ideas in here on the yen pairs, and take into consideration also the pound pairs in here. Looking at CAD, right? So CAD is reacting or reacted a little bit from this supply level. And not my favorite neither. Similar to dollar index, kind of moving to the downside. Dollar CAD also moving a little bit to the downside. So we'll see what's going to happen. Is price going to respect this level and resume the move to the downside, or not? Like maybe it could. It's the previous level support resistance as well. So somewhere around this level, we may have some structure in there that price can use to potentially push price down again. So that's just something to bear in mind. Again, in my opinion, we are kind of reacting from one of the last fresh demand zones that was left behind in here. But in the bigger picture, we are already within this big compression, and that's a little bit of where I would like to see eventually dollar CAD to go towards a little bit towards that level. But we can definitely have a retracement first before actually filling out that space, which is good. It's going to provide even a better risk reward for a potential sell opportunity on the dollar CAD. Now, is it going to go from here? Are we going to even check out that high first? We're going to go somewhere closer to this level. This one. We're going to have some level in here to look for. So that's basically a little bit of the question mark. With good PA, maybe can actually have that opportunity to look for a sell, start breaking some lows. That's nice to see always. So yeah, we'll see. We do have kind of this supply level in there as well. So we'll see. We'll see if it's going to be directed from here. You can even just maybe move down or test this level and go higher. Or are we going to fake out this level, create some PA, and then move down? Now, the way price is moving, move to downside in here, looks like it was already spiked quite a lot. We do have this structure in there. Left shoulder as well in here. Maybe on the different time frame, just maybe something better to look for. Even in here, there's not exactly a demand zone that was left behind. Maybe that level. Yeah, maybe that's the pressure level that was left behind in there. Yeah, we'll see. And you have perhaps this demand zone as a potential target to the downside. Yeah, so maybe somewhere around this level. Shoulder. let's touch. Midnight. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if there's anything in there or not. I'm going to follow price. I'm going to set up an alert, and whenever price gets there, I will be paying attention to it. See if there's an opportunity to look for a continuation to the downside in here on the dollar card somewhere around this level. Yeah, so picking out these highs one more time would be interesting. All right. Yeah, but there was already a lot of compression here, a lot of spikes in here on the way up during the news. Yeah, it's just something to bear in mind in here as well. Now this was a nice move intraday. Basically, price start breaking lows, fake out, react from there, and move lower. This could have been a trade today. Not really looking for it. To be honest, I want to see a little bit more before looking for those setups. This can be just the beginning of some sells that can kick in here. If price starts breaking above all this level, then you're looking slightly higher. Euro card and pound card also moving to the downside. Right, so again, you do have this engulfed down on the euro card, so we are more bearish. Yeah, we're slightly bearish in here. We do have this structure. Maybe price carry on respecting it. Still respect this level in there. It's perfect. It went above this high with respect to that level, and now it's moving to the downside again. Just open, definitely turning bearish in here. We do have still this structure. Price can still use it. Perhaps can go slightly higher. And let's see. I'd like to see that. I'd like this euro card to potentially go slightly higher before maybe respecting this engulf down, which means that as price is moving to the upside, perhaps you can look for a sell opportunity in here. So that's something to bear in mind on the euro card. Pound card quite similar as well, so it still continue to respect the highs in there. So we'll see what's going to happen in here. We kind of managed to break below it as well, and tomorrow again unemployment. It's something that we have. So looking at the pound pairs at this point, there's a potential slightly move to the downside more on the pound. Also pound card could go as well. Pound Aussie could also push a little bit lower, more towards its level before potentially moving up. Euro pound is a bit in a range, but in the bigger picture could go higher from here. It could definitely just fake out this level and go higher, basically respecting this structure in there. So that's something that you could see on the euro pound. So we could have a little bit of a negative pound for the first reaction at least, and then you'll see, right? And then you'll see. And this one, in this case, in here on the euro pound, first and foremost, you may feel this price in there, and then you'll see what's going to happen. If it just continues to create momentum, then yeah, there's a lot of potential spice in here as well to feel on the pound dollar. Our franc Swiss just continues to go higher, so I wanted to get closer to these highs before looking for anything else. So that's going to be the level I'll be looking for. Even though we may have enough liquidity already somewhere in here, but we may have initial reaction somewhere around this level. Basically what I'm going to be looking for. They're still respecting those lows from the beginning of last year. Just simple, or quite similar to the euro dollar, to be honest. Gold basically didn't really move that much neither today. Slightly higher, but not really special at this point. We do have a double bottom in here, which can be targeted, but price can go slightly higher. Again, we can literally fake out all these highs as well before attempting to go lower. Yep, so that's something to bear in mind in here. Then oil created a little bit more of a range. We created the double bottom in here, already reacting the previous low from basically last year, and we get into this range in there. So that's something to pay attention to on oil. Looking for some PI in here to look for potential reversals. I would like definitely to see these lows being taken, and attention as well to see how price may react around this level in the potential continuation. Or if you do start breaking that level, that's even better to look for eventually a bigger long, but you may have these lows being faked out first before going higher. All right, so we'll see what kind of PA you're going to have around this level. But oil has been super bearish recently, so we may have a little bit of correction, even if it is just to respect this to test this 72.5 around this level. Can be, yeah, can be a good a potential good opportunity. Yeah, while we have Brent as well doing similar stuff as well in here. Yeah, and that's basically it. So that's basically it in terms of what you're looking for. Just to summarize, a little bit indecision on the dollar. I'm going to be curious to see if the dollar is going to respect those highs or not, and same thing with euro dollar in here in regards to these lows. I do like a little bit of a level underneath, just potential to see a small reaction, because this will mean that it's a second break to the downside, which means that it starts becoming a bit more bearish in here after price respected that, or when it tried to go higher, it didn't really manage to break anything. So that can be a little bit more for a further move to the downside, but there's maybe a little bit of opportunity in here. Just curious also to see how price may react from this week opening, which is somewhere around this level. Pound as well, potential continuation to the downside, a little bit more. Also do have that level in there, and we have news straight away in the morning at 7 AM, which is unemployment in UK. So we'll see if do have some volatility in here, and you can pay attention to that also on across the different pound pairs, pound yen, pound Aussie, pound CAD, and so on and so forth, which all of them they're kind of moving to the downside. So you may have one extra leg down before potentially a turn. At the end pairs, I'm still looking for longs on the yen index, which means that a little bit more shorts on the individual yen pairs, so that's something to bear in mind. The US indices corrected today to the upside. I think eventually we're going to resume the move to the downside, so that may happen tomorrow or tomorrow morning, tomorrow on a US session, or eventually on Wednesday. So that's something to bear in mind as well. And that's basically it. The gold hasn't really moved. Oil can be quite interesting, so with good PA you may have a long opportunity on oil. And yeah, Aussie similar to the dollar as well. Maybe looking a bit more for shorts on the Aussie dollar as well. So yeah, price hasn't really, again, across all these different assets, I'm not really seeing price at this point at the levels that they are standing out to me, or looking for clear PA that tells me, okay, this is going to go this direction or that direction. I'm still being a little bit more patient at this point, just waiting to see better PA and mostly price reaching better levels. Again, price is reversing since last week, not last week, basically when you created the top on the euro, for example, or the indices last week or 2 weeks ago. Those are the levels that I wanted to be involved with. Now is being patient and letting price evolve a little bit. This is more of a mid-range trades, which is not exactly my A+ setup, so I'm being a little bit more patient in here. So any targets that I'm going to be looking for, they're going to be a bit more conservative and not exactly home runs. With that being said, guys, good luck for tomorrow. I'll speak to you soon. I'll speak to you tomorrow, actually, another pre-market analysis. Thank you very much, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Bye bye.